Hi everyone, welcome to Ekanda Development Center, Majalis Arts and Science College, Puramannur. I am Rachitra RK, first semester, Postgraduate Department of English. Today, we are going to learn the poem Ozymandias. Ozymandias is a poem written in 1870s by a British romantic writer whose name is synonymous with radical political and social change. Today, we are going to learn the poem Ozymandias. Ozymandias is a sonnet written in 1870s by a British romantic writer whose name is synonymous with social, radical and political change. Then who was the writer? Yes, it is P.B. Shelley who wrote the poem Ozymandias. And we know that Shelley is a romantic writer. Then what about Romanticism? Romanticism is an artistic, intellectual and literary movement originated towards the end of the 18th century in Europe with the publication of lyrical ballads by Samuel Taylor Coleridge and William Wordsworth. Wordsworth says that poetry is a spontaneous overflow of powerful feelings that recollected in tranquility. His concept of poetry gave us a core of Romanticism in two lines. And Romanticism is against neoclassical poetry, especially the conventional rules that made by the classical poets. And the tenets of Romanticism includes subjectivity, then an emphasis on individualism, then spontaneity, freedom for rules, and they give importance to the common man life and their language. And they give importance to the solitary life rather than the life in society. And I think that most of you watched the film Into the Wild. The central character Christopher says that the core of human coming from new experiences, as such that the romantic believe in new experience and they believe in the power of imagination. And Romanticism includes two generations of poets. In the first generation, we have the leading poets like William Wordsworth, Samuel Taylor Coleridge and William Blake. In the second generations, we have John Keats and Lord Byron, then P.B. Shelley. And now we are going to analyze the historical context of the text and the history of the author. As we know that Ozymandias is written by P.B. Shelley. P.B. Shelley was born on 4th August 1792 in England as the eldest son of Timothy Shelley and Elizabeth Pilford. And Shelley's early education takes place in home. After that, he got a admission in Oxford University. Then later he publishes The Necessity of Atheism. Then he was expelled from the University of Oxford. Shelley's nickname was Mad Shelley and he married twice. Some critics regarded Shelley as a finest lyric poet of English language and as a revolutionary poet and a poet of regeneration. Shelley's joy and faith in humanity and optimism were unique among other romantics. And Shelley died at an early age of 29, but he reflects the whole age through his works. Some modern writers like T.S. Eliot, Ezra Pound and even Bernard Shaw was influenced by P.B. Shelley. Then we analyze the historical context of the text. Because as we said that in meaning making process, the historical context of the text and the history of author is important. Shelley wrote the poem Ozymandias in a friendly competition with his friend Horace Smith, who also wrote a sonnet in the same topic and the same title Ozymandias. These two poems explore the fate of history and the revenge of time. But later Horace Smith changed the name of his sonnet Ozymandias into On a Stupendous Leg of Granite. Now we move on to the poem Ozymandias, the title having a royal touch because Ozymandias is another name of Ramses II, who was the pharaoh of Egypt. In Shelley's time, Ramses II is known as Ozymandias. Now let's read the poem Ozymandias. I met a traveller from an antique land who said, to vast and trunkless leg of stone stand in the desert. Near them, on the sand, half-sunk, shattered visage lies, whose frown and wrinkled lip and sneer of cold command tell that its sculpture well those passions read, which yet survive, stamped on these lifeless things, the hand that mocked them and the heart that fed. And on the pedestal these words appear: My name is Ozymandias, King of Kings. Look on my works, a mighty and despair. Nothing besides remain round the decay of that colossal wreck, boundless and bare, the lone and level sand stretch far away. The poem begins with, I met a traveller from an antique land. So in the first letter, the Shelley broke all the conventional rules by using the first person pronoun I. The poet met a traveller from the ancient land of Egypt, and the traveller narrates the poem about a destroyed statue of Ozymandias that he saw in the land of Egypt, in the desert of Egypt. Then how was the appearance of the destroyed statue? It was a vast trunkless leg of stone stand in the desert. It was trunkless, it does not having the upper portion of the body. And what about the head of the statue? It was half sunk or buried in the desert. Then he describes how was the expression that appeared on the half sunk face of the statue, whose frown and wrinkled lip a sneer of cold command. Shelley is mocking the smile that appears on the destroyed statue. A sneer of cold command, it was a literary usage and it was a metaphor. And Shelley says that it is the finest piece of art because the expression that appeared on the face of the statue was clear and perfect, and it's only because of the creativity of artist and the power of art. Here Shelley glorified the artist instead of glorifying the king or the dictator. So artist means a common man. Shelley glorifies a common man instead of glorifying a dictatorship or the power holders of the society. And the statue survived only because of the power of art, not because of the greatness of the king. And on the pedestal of the statue, every statue having some basement, we can see some inscription such as his name and the year he born and died. Here in the pedestal of the statue of Ozymandias, he written like this: My name is Ozymandias, King of Kings. Look on my works, a mighty and despair. Here the king Ozymandias said to the old people in the society and other king that, look at my statue, I am Ozymandias, the King of Kings, and what is my works? Look upon my works, what I have done, and you just feel like, oh, I am not compared with this wonderful king, and just disappoint yourself. Here we can see how disrespectful the attitude of the egoistic king and how he feel himself great. He saying that look upon my works and just disappoint yourself. But when we look upon his statue and around the desert, nothing remains as the same. Only we can see the sand and the sand, and the sand is continuing, and it became a desert, and the statue is destroyed. Everything is erased by the passage of time, and the statue is destroyed. Now we analyze the theme of the poem, and it varies from person to person because the writer gave us the complete freedom for interpreting the poem. Then we move on to the structure of the poem Ozymandias. Ozymandias is a sonnet. As we know that sonnet is a 14-line poem written in single stanza. When we move on to the structure of the poem, it is a sonnet. As we know that sonnet is a 14-line poem written in single stanza. Ozymandias is also a sonnet written in iambic pentameter with a typical rhyming scheme as we compare to other English sonnets like Shakespearean and Petrarchan sonnet. In Shakespearean sonnet, we have a three quatrains and ending in a couplet. And in Petrarchan sonnet, we have an octave and a sestet. But we go into the poem Ozymandias. Here, Shelley Town followed a conventional rules such as Shakespearean and a Petrarchan. Ozymandias is a sonnet, but it's not included in Shakespearean sonnet or the Petrarchan sonnet. And we can see a structure of iambic pentameter in the beginning of the sonnet, but towards the end the structure disappears. Shelley's spontaneity and a sense of surprise made the poem famous. In the poem, we have the poetic devices like alliteration, metaphor, synecdoche, apostrophe and irony. And when we read the poem and analyze the poem, we get an ironic feel, such as someone is thinking that how great and grand they are, but everything is erased by the passage of time. Now we can conclude the poem Ozymandias. When we conclude it, Shelley says that every power is temporary, no matter how great the ruler is, and nothing lasts forever. Everything is erased by the passage of time. I hope you understood the poem Ozymandias, and thank you.